So it's 3 o'clock now, and we have all three of our boarding school representatives in the meeting room. So I believe we can go ahead and start. Okay, so good afternoon, parents, students, and our USA boarding school representatives. My name is Anne-Marie Abebe, and I'm the Student Placement Manager at Newbie Education. Welcome to the Newbie Education virtual information session and panel discussion. I'm going to be the moderator for this event. So I will just give you an idea of how this session will be conducted. Each of our boarding school representatives on here are going to deliver presentations on their individual schools. They'll introduce themselves, introduce their schools, and also provide their COVID-19 responses and updates for the forthcoming academic year for 2020. After the presentations have been concluded, we will move on to the question and answer session. For our parents and students, there's a chat box at the bottom of your screens, and we encourage you to please type in whatever questions you have. And once the presentations have been concluded, we'll move on to the Q&A session, and I will read out your questions to the delegates for them to answer. I'm now going to introduce our boarding school representatives. We have the lovely Caroline Whitbeck, who's the Director of Admissions for the Phelps School. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Anne-Marie. Lovely to meet you guys. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to meet you as well, and thank you so much for setting time aside to participate in our event. We also have Julie Middleton, who is the Senior Associate Director of Admissions for Hebron Academy. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Anne-Marie. Hello, Rose. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to telling you about Hebron Academy.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's wonderful to have you on here. And last but most certainly not the least, we have Julie Wiley, who is the Associate Director of Admissions for Colorado Rocky Mountain School. Hello, Julie.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and talk with you today about the Colorado Rocky Mountain School and answer any questions that you all have. So I'm looking forward to the session.
Thank you so much, Julie. So we've got two Julies in the session today. It's wonderful to have all three of you here. We're honored to have you participate in our event, and we say a very big thank you to you for your support. So I'm now going to pass on to the Newbie Education Executive Director, Mrs. Rose Omonubi.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. And thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's good morning now in the USA, but here we say good afternoon because we are in afternoon. And I'm delighted to welcome you all to this information session. Many of you have taken time out to come here, so we welcome you, and we are happy that you are here. My name is Rose Omonubi, as Anne-Marie has introduced, Executive Director at Newbie Education. I'm going to tell you the reason why we are here today. We all know that we are all in very difficult times. We are in real challenging times. Whether you are in the US or you are in Nigeria, you are everywhere, we are in difficult times. And so parents in making decisions want to know the contingency measures that the boarding schools have for their children coming to study in the US. We did not single only US for this. We have been having series of webinars from June. We have had UK boarding schools. Yesterday, we had Canadian boarding schools. We had US boarding schools in June, the first set. So we are having US again today. So, you know, you appreciate that when people are sending their children out at young age, they are always concerned. So they have some concerns that they want the boarding schools to reassure them. And they ask us many questions. Some of them we could answer, some we couldn't answer. So we thought that this is a forum, a good forum to get these stakeholders together so they can ask all their questions and get them answered. So if they get first-hand information from you, maybe they will be able to make their informed decisions. And that is why we are here today. But first, let me give you an overview of Nubia Education. Nubia Education is one of the leading independent educational consultants in Nigeria. And we are the leader when it comes to placements of pupils in the boarding schools. We are very passionate about boarding schools. We are the first to start placement from Nigeria to boarding schools because the agents before us were placing people to the universities. They were targeting the universities. But we thought it would be good to take them at a younger age, get them integrated in the system. And so we started the boarding school placements and we started the boarding school fair in Nigeria. So you see that we are, even though we work with universities, we are very, very passionate about the boarding schools. We have been placing students for over 16 years now. We have our head office in Lagos and a branch office in Port Harcourt. Our team, they are made up of seasoned educationists, counselors, and passion-driven marketers who understand the educational system in Nigeria and the study destinations of our students. So there are many educational agencies in Nigeria, but NUBI is distinguished by the quality counsel we give to our parents. And that is why we are the word of mouth publicity has been the thing that we are thriving on and from our parents. And that has contributed to our success story today. I do not want to take much of your time because I know that parents will they are anxious to hear from you. In Nigeria, we say we hear from the horse's mouth. So they just have to hear from you today. And I wish you a very successful information session. Amari, over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So I'd like to provide our delegates with some house rules. I would like to inform you that each one of you has 10 minutes for your presentations. And once you have hit the 7-minute mark, I will prompt you and notify you that you have 3 more minutes left. So we have no particular order, as to who will go first. So I'm just going to make a random selection. So could we please have Caroline Whitbeck from the Phelps School start with her presentation?
Sure. Am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes, you are. So I'm just going to go into meeting settings and enable that option.
Okay.
And I have done so. So you can share your screen now. Thank you.
All right. Let me keep fingers crossed. We just had our very own virtual open house yesterday. Can you guys all see this?
Okay. Yes, we can.
And we had some screen freezing. I know you guys are probably all Zoom experts at this point, but there's always a wrinkle. There's always a network connection. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dr. Caroline Whitbeck. I'm the Director of Admissions at the Phelps School in Malvern, Pennsylvania. And I want to share a little bit about Phelps with you guys today. As you might be starting to intuit, we are an all boys school. So I'm sorry if you have daughters, hold that thought. Maybe they have lovely young men friends. So Phelps is located in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So a little bit about Malvern for those of you who are less familiar with the area. It is about, I would say about 20 miles outside of Philadelphia. Malvern itself is a small and a safe place. It's got a little main street where you can pick up regional rail and take the train into Philadelphia. And from there, it's really easy to connect. You can even connect from one town over directly onto Amtrak to New York City and other major metropolitan areas. Our nearest international airport is Philadelphia International Airport. So I've got some images here of little Malvern to compare to Philadelphia if you're familiar with Philly. I've lived in Philadelphia for about 12 years now. I really love this area. It's kind of the best of both worlds in that Malvern is basically horse country. As I'll discuss today, we were founded 75 years ago. We were a former working farm. When I cut back to my face, you may notice behind me there's a trophy with a horse on it because it was best horsemanship in the 50s. We're no longer a working farm, but we do believe in working the body and the mind. So what's wonderful about where we're located is as a former working farm, it's 70 acres of beautiful rural countryside, but we are close to exciting things in cities. And we do like to take advantage of those when we can. So next slide. The Phelps method is the basis of our educational philosophy. It has 5 pillars that you're seeing here. Phelps is fundamentally a place of transformation and maximization. And these 5 pillars are key to this transformation and maximization. At the heart of them is the, as you can see, I guess the foundation, if you will, here would be individual attention and relational teaching. As you will see, we are a very small school. We are small intentionally because we believe that it better enables this student-teacher relationship that really is key to particularly how boys learn. And from there, we are able to establish these wonderful relationships that really help young men become cognitively disinhibited, which is basically a big way of saying they're open to taking risks and they're open to learning. And we foster academic excellence, but we also look to build the whole man, his character. We, as a boarding school, we do rely on things like personal motivation. You are the one getting yourself out of bed in the morning. Yes, your dorm parent may give you that knock if you're a little slow, but it is on you. We also believe in physical development. We'll talk about sports in a little bit, and accountability and responsibility. And we're invested in those and how they come together and create, as we say, better young men. So we are a very diverse school. We're very proud of that diversity. About 30% of our student body is international. We have students from Nigeria, Kenya, Cambodia, Vietnam, China, Tajikistan, we've had Finland, Brazil, Spain, Hungary. Obviously it varies. Right now our biggest populations internationally would be China and Bahamas. So interesting. We've got, as we said, very small, about 100 young men. And this is grades 6 through 12 or PG. So that means we have a very small middle school and then a high school with a postgraduate year. I'd be happy to talk you guys about that. We have a 7-to-1 student teacher ratio. So an average class size for us would be around 7, which is actually very helpful, as we'll share in COVID times, because it does allow us to, not be overwhelmed with in terms of space constraints. About 55% of our faculty do have advanced degrees. We offer about 81 academic courses, and we do have day students. So we do draw about 70% from around the country, but 30% that commute in during the day. And now this could be as far as Philadelphia or some of the suburbs out in the main line where we're located. We have a comprehensive and dynamic academic program. So we can suit, very high achieving students, whether they're in National Honor Society or students that may have special learning challenges like ADHD or dyslexia. We offer 14 different advanced placement and honors courses, as well as courses in STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and a variety of extracurriculars. In the past year, our esports club was very popular. This is Super Smash Bros. Our computer science teacher loves to do competitive gaming with some of our students. We've also done Model UN and have an a cappella singing group called the Acafellas. We believe in fostering student leadership, whether this is through our community service. We have community service every weekend, and we do have a minimum of hours our young men need to meet. We have student proctors on the hallway that can be wonderful helpers for young men, whether it's helping a middle schooler learn to live apart from his family for the first time, or helping a young man who may have trouble keeping his room clean abide by the community standards. We also have student government and an ambassador program that is near and dear to my heart, because these are our student tour guides, and they really are, they open the doors to Phelps. We have athletics every afternoon. We offer over 8 different team sports, as well as the option, if you're not taking a team sport, we require 2 during the year, but you can engage in different ways, or you can do music performance or photography. We just believe you should, at the end of your class day, engage differently. So it can be anything from soccer to basketball. We've had 4 different basketball teams in recent years, which for a school of 100, it's a lot. It's very popular. You'll see here perhaps why. We have a beautiful historic old gym. We have a beautiful new gym. So we could have 3 different full-size basketball games happening at once in the new gym. And we've converted one of our barns into a full-size turf field. Residential life, obviously, for our students coming out of Nigeria would be key. We have 4 comfortable dorms. Actually, right now, for this year, as I'll say, it's going to be 3. We have turned Hilltop, our small honors dorm, into a quarantine space. But otherwise, we have Founders, Gaines, and Beatty. Each hallway has a faculty apartment who's a dorm parent, as well as a proctor. And there's supplemental dorm parents who rotate on, who may live other places in campus. We took faculty everywhere throughout our campus, so you always have that structure and support. And we really do believe that that structure and support is key to helping young men succeed. We recognize that each student needs to be seen, known, and understood. We do that through a series of student profiles at the start of the year at orientation that help the young men understand their learning style, also their career interests, also their personality profile. And these are the cornerstone of an advisory profile. Each young man has an advisor that acts like the head of a mini family unit. Here's some college acceptances from the past 2 years. You'll see this list is basically as diverse as our student body, everywhere from liberal arts colleges to major R1 research universities, also Division I sports represented. And then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about our COVID response while some campus images scroll through for you guys. As I've already alluded, we have put into place a bunch of different precautions and measures to try to do our best to keep our campus safe. We are opening for the fall, provided we are legally allowed to do so. We are fully planning to reopen our campus on August 16th. So what we have done originally is move the start of school up. We've done this in keeping with what we're seeing in the higher ed space, where we're trying to minimize some of the back and forth of travel that might otherwise happen between the Thanksgiving and the winter holiday break. This will also allow our students to be off campus during the peak flu season, because we understand that might be a very difficult time. In addition to having the accelerated schedule, as I've said, we've set aside a particular quarantine dormitory. We are also going to be offering multiple wellness checks throughout the day for our students. So these would be temperature checks, as well as a series of questions to assess risk and the student's health. They will have multiple—
So sorry to interrupt, Caroline. You've got 3 more minutes left.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. We will have multiple cleanings per day. Now, in the classroom, at the end of every class period, the students will be cleaning their particular work areas as well as the high touch areas. We've organized our classrooms to make sure the desks will minimize face-to-face and also be spaced apart the necessary 6 feet. Students will be required to wear masks as much as possible where they're not able to provide that 6 feet of distance. And even when they are 6 feet apart, we are going to encourage it because again, we've seen safety coming from the layers, the different layers of precautions. So in addition to the temperature checks, wellness checks, the spacing of the classrooms, the deep cleaning the students will do, obviously our maintenance team will be working in more deep cleaning rotations. They'll be deep cleaning the common area spaces in the dorms on a regular basis. So they will be doing that daily. And then in the individual rooms, they're going to work with the proctors and the students to do those weekly. We are also going to be working with our class schedule to break up the lunch period so that again, we can minimize the amount of large group congregating. So we're going to be limiting the number of students at tables and having lunch in shifts. Lunch specifically for us because that's our biggest meal of the day. We've also been discussing minimizing exposure and non-essential travel. So our athletic director is working a variety of scenarios. Again, it really depends in August when we open what the CDC and Chester County, Penn Jersey Athletic League, all the recommendations are. He has strategies from anything from totally normal, all sports resume, to only traveling on weekends, to not traveling at all and just doing kind of intramural or competition on campus, to even minimizing that kind of contact and working on physical fitness training and some of the mentality and strategy of the game. So no matter what the best practice is, we are going to be prepared. Likewise, our activities and community service is going to be modified. We're going to be working at least through the fall to do all service projects on campus. So where we might have gone and say visited a nursing home, now we're going to be, providing Zoom calls of support or writing letters of support, doing things we can do apart from the community, like maybe cleaning up a park somewhere outside where it would just be our school community. We're also typically those lovely events we might have on a weekend where we would go to a local restaurant or go to a fun event. We're working as much as possible to somehow bring it into campus. So making our own little student diner where they would order takeout from a particular restaurant and set it up and make it a theme restaurant. The Sugartown Grill is what we're calling it. And in place of going to a movie tavern, which is a wonderful movie and buffet in the area, being able to have screenings on campus. We always had some sort of fun events on campus, whether it would be barbecues or s'mores or bonfires and playing guitar. And we're going to try to lean into more of those activities to keep everyone safe. I think that's basically it. Obviously, I know I'm not going to be able to think of everything, but I welcome your questions. And I thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Caroline. Whilst you were speaking, I was taking notes. So I'd like to say that a major concern of Nigerian parents about sending their children, to the US this forthcoming September is, how safe, will the campus be? So it's wonderful to know that the Phelps School has rigorous hygiene and deep cleaning protocols in place. Your communal areas and common area spaces will be regularly cleaned. You're also going to ensure social distancing between the boys, having them be 6 feet apart in the classrooms. You're also going to be conducting regular temperature and wellness checks. So it's wonderful to know that you're committed to ensuring the safety of your students and your staff on campus. And I love the part about wellness checks. So we're living in very daunting and unprecedented times, and it's very important that students have access to mental health and well-being resources, to make them know that they're not alone, they're okay, and there's always going to be someone for them to talk to if they're worried about something. Another thing, for parents to have learned from your presentation is that you're an all-boys school. You're focused on, developing, enabling boys to discover their talents and passions, and maximize their potential so that they're able to become that whole man, in the future. Thank you so much, Caroline. So we're now going to move on to Julie Middleton from Hebron Academy.
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having the school delegates here today. I will also attempt to share my screen and hope that comes right up. Bear with me just one second.
That's okay.
That should be the final slide, so.
We of Hebron.
I thought this was going to be the final slide, but it turns out it's the opening slide. Can you
okay.
Can
yes,
you all
yes.
see this
We
video?
can hear you, but we're still not able to see your screen. We just see your face.
Hold on one second.
Thank you.
Do you see a PowerPoint now?
Not yet. We still just see you. Is there like a button at the bottom of your screen that says share?
Yes, there is. And I apologize. It's right.
No, that's okay.
It's right here. Can you see it now?
Not yet, unfortunately. Oh yes, it says you've started screen sharing. Yes, we can see your slides.
All right. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
You know, we are all becoming aficionados with Zoom and other platforms, and again, I just appreciate your patience with that. So here we will start the slideshow. And this first slide is a video that we recently have done to just show to our community, which again is a global community, a little bit about Hebron Academy, the strength of our past, our resilience, and how that is really informing our future. It's a fairly short video, but I think it will be really telling to our location to give you a sense of where Hebron is located and what we have to offer as a global small school community in Southern Maine.
We of Hebron Academy stand proudly on the side of a positive future, on the side of confidence. As we look to emerge with all due caution from these times of separation, of quarantine, of the same four walls, we smile at the thought of our home away from home, the antidote to this trial, our open space in Maine's natural playground, our open-hearted community of beautiful diversity, our open-ended horizons, our chance now simply to be better. So we're coming back stronger. Over 200 years of our history show that we look triumph and disaster square in the eye, and we pivot, we adapt, we reinvent with a spirit that never falters. All of this, fog rolling in, the views from the top, the sound of our victory bell, these chances to explore the world, to explore our own minds, to explore what we are truly capable of achieving, are ready to go. This is an experience worth waiting for and worth fighting for, and we're up for that fight. Whatever the future looks like, you will find your purpose in our community. This is a learning experience of a quality unlike any other, with a faculty of staff that will stop at nothing to make you proud of you. You'll be proud to belong, to bring back the chair, to hear the crowd roar, to be a lumberjack, to feel part of something bigger. And even in these times, this spirit has not flinched. Now more than ever, the values that are in our blood, resilience, ingenuity, charity, care are what makes a person, are what makes us. So where do you stand? Do we take this and use it to come back stronger? Do we look outward and forward to the future? Do we believe in our ability to succeed whatever the world throws at us? We do. Let's stand together. Because this is worth it.
This is worth it. These are trying times, and we are all coming together to do the best that we can for the most important quality I think we all believe in: education for our students and for our future. Hebron Academy, located in Southern Maine, founded in 1804 as a co-ed school, has a bright future. And I'm really happy to be a part of this community for 15 years. I started in junior boarding school. I've worked at the college and university level, and I've come back to Hebron because I truly believe in the impact we can have as a small community on our students and on their future. I'd like to introduce you to Dan Marchetti. He is the head of our school. Dan is, he comes from a junior boarding school environment, and Hebron has had a middle school for over 30 years. Again, founded in 1804 as a college preparatory high school. We've had a middle school for 30 years, and we began middle school boarding 3 years ago. So we do have middle school students in grades 6, 7, and 8, and that was a brainchild of Dan's. Dan is also an avid outdoorsman. He's worked for Outward Bound, he's worked for Knowles, and he really believes in the opportunity to learn through adventure and leadership, because boarding school, as much as it is an education, especially when you're traveling from so far away, it is a life adventure. So meet Dan Marchetti. I mentioned before, we are located in Maine. Just to give you a visual of Maine, we're in the northeast of the United States on the Atlantic Ocean, just south of Canada. And we are 2 hours from Boston's International Logan Airport. So we pick up students when they first arrive in Boston and deliver them to Hebron. There's also an international airport in Portland, Maine, which is a little less than an hour from Hebron. Smaller airport, so students traveling from Africa will typically go to New York and then fly to Portland. Otherwise, direct flights to Boston, and again, we pick students up there. Important to get right to what's going on with the virus. And Maine has recently been announced as one of the 2 safest states in the United States in terms of COVID infections. We are one of 2 states where the trajectory has actually gone down. Hebron Academy, you may have garnered from that video, we have 1,500 acres here. So we have a phenomenal natural buffer. And in our county, in the county that Hebron is located in Oxford, since testing began back in March, there have only been 45 cases of coronavirus in Oxford County. And currently 35 of those folks have recovered. So we've been very fortunate to be in a wonderfully safe part of the world with this pandemic. And even before the pandemic, I know a lot of families, especially coming from more metropolitan and international areas, might be concerned about safety in terms of crime or violence. And Maine is the 3rd safest state in terms of those issues as reported by the US News and World Report. I mentioned 200 years of incredible history at Hebron Academy. Our location, our foundations, and inspiring students and mind, body, and spirit are long-reaching. And we have a very holistic approach to supporting our students to reach their goals. A little bit about the makeup of Hebron Academy. We are 250 students in grades 6 through 12, and we also have a small postgraduate program, that 1-year transition between a high school diploma and college and university. We are 70% boarding and 30% day. Those folks from the region who are really looking for something more in their education, they are making the commitment to come to Hebron Academy. Our faculty student ratio is about 1 to 5. Our average class size is in about the 10 to 12 range. These are some quotes from some of our students. Of course, that's the heart of what it is all about. And our students come from 21 different countries this year. And often they will talk about Hebron being that place where they really could be themselves and be their best selves, where they gained the confidence to ask questions, to pursue intellectual activity, independent study, and again, really feel confident about who they are before going out into college and university. So the self-advocacy skills, the personal accountability skills are there in place as they go out into the world as young adults. I'd love to tell you a little bit about the academic, arts, and athletics programs at Hebron. Our curriculum is based on a traditional classic program of primarily English, math, science, history, world languages, and the arts, really making sure that our students have strong foundations for communication, reading, and writing, and again, with their technical skills. 45% of our classes are either honor or AP options, and we have incredible electives and opportunities outside of the classroom to really explore at that next level. So whether it is writing for the Hebron Review, the monthly blog and newspaper, or participating in the National Scholastics Literature and Arts Competition, and participating in All-State for Music, there are many opportunities both in the classroom and out of the classroom to soar with your intellectual and academic passions. In terms of visual and performing arts, we have a phenomenal facility for this. The LePage Center for Visual and Performing Arts is about 50,000 square feet and has a wonderful performance space for concerts and plays, and also practice rooms for musical practice with your instruments or taking voice or private lessons. We also have a great range of visual and studio art classes available. We just received the results yesterday of our AP art students, and 5 students took that class last year, and all 5 received 5s on the AP test. So we're really thrilled for them and proud of the work that they did. In terms of athletics, we have roughly 21 different competitive athletics at Hebron. They are divided by trimester and season. So you switch in the fall to the winter and the spring to something different. And we do require that 2 of our 3 trimesters be something physical. We want students to embrace that part of their experience at Hebron. But the 3rd season could be something like drama, music, yearbook, science Olympiad, which is very popular in our new STEM center. And in terms of athletics, there are a lot of team options, but also a lot of individual options. So golf or dance or tennis, rock climbing, mountain biking, a group experience, but really more focused on the individual, as well as some wonderful team options. This is an overview of colleges and universities where our students have attended recently. We have 3 college counselors for roughly a senior postgraduate class of about 70 students. So the individual attention for those students is remarkable. We typically have about 75 to 85 college and university representatives on our campus in the fall. And we do our own college fair in the spring in our athletics center with 125 colleges and universities on campus and available to share information about their institutions. This next slide is a student, one of our international students who was a wonderful campus contributor for his interest in athletics on the ski team and with the science, and particularly with the Model UN. And he credits Hebron Academy immensely with his opportunity to go on and succeed at the college and university level. I mentioned before our location off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean and also nestled in the mountains. So we are wonderfully situated for great outdoor activities on our campus. And in these times, we really plan on celebrating that page in our book, where we can do so much on our campus to entertain, engage, and enrich our students' lives in a really safe and meaningful way. So this is not the year where we're going to be doing the weekend trip to New York City or the field trip to Boston. We'll be doing a lot of our activities right on our campus and or in the local environs for just natural exploration. And we all, like a lot of boarding schools, we celebrate great on-campus activities every weekend anyway. We have a great Hogwarts dinner, we do the Winter Olympics, we have a prom and a casino night, and lots of really fun activities on campus. So we're excited again to just really continue to increase those opportunities for our students this year.
So sorry to interrupt, Julie. You've got 3 more minutes left. Okay,
thank you. I think we're getting close to the end here, but I do want to tell you about some of our signature programs at Hebron. Some of you may be familiar with our Round Square schools. There are about 150 schools around the world that are part of the Round Square Consortium. And this is a group of schools that want to share curriculum and ideas that help lead students into their future. Schools host regional events where there's a delegate of students who are elected to go, typically 4 or 5 students from each school. Recently, our students have been to Mumbai, India, to Ottawa, Canada, and into Peru. This fall, they were scheduled to go to Australia. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this fall, but we're hoping to postpone that to a near date in the future. But these are like-minded individuals who want to explore things like sustainability and solve world economic problems and really get together to inspire each other and move the needle forward with some of these great opportunities that are ahead of them. We have a life program at Hebron. It is our residential life curriculum, living in a family environment. And our weekly dorm meetings are surrounded in a curriculum of discovery around areas of health and wellness. So often we'll be talking about things like healthy relationships or the importance of sleep hygiene, these discussions around health and wellness to augment a student's life experience in a dorm with faculty members present and guiding those conversations. We are a school that firmly believes in communication skills. We have a public speaking program that ranges across the grades, starting with a first word program in 9th grade, where students will prepare and study a speech to present to only their small class, 12 or so students. And each year they do something different, culminating in a last word speech at the end of their senior year. And we really look forward to hearing those speeches. Students can choose a topic of their choice, a life-changing event, someone who's been important to them. And they do work with someone in the words program to finesse that speech and be able to successfully deliver that in front of our full school community of about 300 people. As I mentioned, we do have a postgraduate program at Hebron Academy. Typically, we have about 12 to 15 students who will participate in that program. And those are students who are coming often with some very unique goals in mind to augment their high school resume. Maybe they have a particular college or university in mind that has asked them to focus on a particular area and keep that spot available for them so that they can come the next year. And sometimes, honestly, it's just those students who might be a little on the young side and could use 1 year of living away from home to gain some independent skills before going off to college and university. We do have an academic guidance center at Hebron Academy. So students who may have a learning difference that needs some support, this is a program right on our campus that also offers instruction in executive function, and it is also a great space for distraction-free testing or untimed testing. And it's a program that we're able to schedule right into a student's day, so they're not missing out on any other class or after-school activity. And the Academic Guidance Center also offers a supervised study hall during study hall time every evening, so students can work with someone during study hall who really knows them and knows their strengths and can give them the tools that they need to strengthen any weaknesses. Our health center, we have one of the top health centers in New England. And at this time, of course, that's more important than ever. We have 2.5 full-time registered nurses on our campus 24/7. We have medical doctors on our campus 2 days a week. We have a director of mental health and wellness, an LCSW, who is on our staff, and we have an additional counselor who comes in and is available for counseling sessions for students who may be struggling with some anxiety through this pandemic or through any of the other things that a young person might be encountering. This year, of course, we are doing a lot around the COVID-19 preparations. Our quarantining, our testing, the PPE, the social distancing, all of those protocols and precautions are put in place. We will have the standalone temperature unit devices, so a student can just walk in and have those temperatures taken on a daily basis. Our day students are going to be asked to sign a commitment where they will be presenting every day with a personal screening at home that commits to their good health, their family's good health, and where their family has been. So again, really making sure that any person who is on campus follows the protocols that are in place by Hebron Academy and by the state governance. Also, I wanted to mention, it's here on the screen, but we do have 3 hospitals within 25 minutes. The closest one is only 10 minutes away. And like Phelps, we have taken one of our dorms offline to be a quarantine unit. So in the event that someone does have an infection, we do have a spot right on campus where they can be observed and contained and cared for in the best way possible. To close, I just have a few images of Hebron Academy and our location, just to take you through our graduation ceremony, the mountains nearby. And again, this is the year that we're going to be taking advantage of these 1,500 acres to have a really meaningful, wonderful experience in our vast natural location. So I want to thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions. And I would point out that on our website, our opening protocol, which is a pretty significant document, is available when you first link on our website. So you can read about the different areas that we have addressed through reopening of the school.
Thank you very much for your informative presentation, Julie. So once again, I was making notes, and one thing that jumped at me was that you mentioned Maine is one of the, your location is one of the 3 safest states. in the US in terms of violence and crime. And one of the was from, a concerned parent sending her son to a school in the US because, she's I mean, in light of the recent disturbances concerning, police violence and discrimination, she's thinking how safe how safe is the US for a Black male student. But it's very comforting to know, that your location is very safe. You foster a welcoming and inclusive small community for your students. And I also noted that, you offer a comprehensive AP and honors course offerings program. We do receive inquiries from parents. Hello?
Anne-Marie, we lost you for a moment.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My internet connection is a bit shaky. I'm so sorry. I got logged out for a few seconds. I don't know how much of what I said that you heard, Julie, but I'll just mention it quickly. So we had a parent who was worried about the safety of the US for her son, and in light of the recent protests about police brutality. So I was just saying that it's very reassuring to know that where you're located is regarded as one of the 3 safest states in the US in terms of crime and violence. And, just listening to you speak, we can tell that Hebron Academy provides an inclusive and welcoming, small community for your students. And we also receive inquiries from parents about, schools that have a vast list of AP courses. So it's also a very good to know that, you have an extensive list of AP course offerings. Okay, then, so I'm now going to pass on to Julie Wiley from Colorado Rocky Mountain School.
Hello, everybody. I'm Julie Wiley. I am the Associate Director of Admission at the Colorado Rocky Mountain School, located in Carbondale, Colorado. I am not going to present any slides today. I'm just going to casually speak to you all about the school and give you an overview. I do encourage you to go onto our website at crms.org, where you can find more detailed information about everything I'm going to talk about, from our academic program to our outdoor program, arts curriculum, as well as admission information. We also have a lot of videos on our website as well, including a virtual campus tour video that's about 10 minutes long. So it's a little bit too long to show you today, but it does give you a wonderful overview of what our campus looks like. So we are located in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, which is where we get our name, the Colorado Rocky Mountains School. Colorado is a state in the Western United States. And Carbondale is a very small, safe town. I don't have statistics about our crime, but we are very safe with little crime in our area. In fact, many people in our town leave their cars unlocked and their houses unlocked. It's a town that, compared to the 8 million people in Lagos, we have about 6,000 people, just to give you a comparison of the size difference. And our campus is located in a small mountain town on 325 acres. We are at the base of Mount Sopris, which is a very large mountain. And to give you a little bit of perspective and comparison, Lagos right now, I know they're basically at sea level, your area of the country, whereas our area of the country is about 1,800 meters above sea level, and then Mount Sopris itself is almost 4,000 meters. So when I compared it to the tallest building in Lagos, Mount Sopris is about 24 times higher than that. So I do have a picture to show you. It gives you a sense of Mount Sopris in the background with our campus down at the base. And you can get a sense of the rural location. It's a beautiful mountain location where we do have the confluence of 2 rivers on our campus as well. So we're a wonderful location where students can get outdoors. We originally were a working ranch. We were founded in 1953 by Ann and John Holden, who were teachers at the Putney School in the state of Vermont. They came across the United States to find a beautiful ranch location where they could start a New England style boarding school out west. And so we still operate on some of the principles of their original foundation of not only having an academic program, but an opportunity for students to take on work opportunities and develop a work ethic and accountability on campus. And that speaks to our active and community service program here that I'll talk about in just a little bit. So I really wanted everyone to have 4 takeaways from what I'm going to talk about today, besides imagining that you can be on a beautiful, safe mountain campus. I also want everyone to keep in mind that this is a very friendly place where you can make friends for life. It's also a place where you can be prepared for college. And it's also a place where you can be adventurous and be creative. On our campus, we do have a number of buildings spread out among the 325 acres, including our academic buildings. We have a library that houses academic counseling as well as a full-time college counselor. We also have a wellness center with a nurse, a school counselor, and an after-hours emergency kind of a technician who can be there for anything that might happen when the nurse is not on the campus. And then we also have a historic barn that we use for all school meetings once a month, once a week, where our entire school community will gather. It's a wonderful opportunity for everyone to come together. We have, at that time, we open with a musical performance, school announcements. Different club leaders will announce what's going on with their school clubs. And we also have senior speeches during our all-school meetings. I think, as one of the other school representatives mentioned, public speaking is important here as well. And at one point during your senior year, you will give a senior speech either at an all-school meeting or at a formal dinner while you're here on campus as well. We have a monthly gathering called Formal Dinners, where our school community will gather together, get a little bit more dressed up, eat dinner together, and hear a senior share their experiences either as a student here at the Colorado Rocky Mountain School, or about something else that was impactful to them in their life, or something, you know, a person that influenced them, again, something that they want to share or give advice to our students. But going back to the fact that our campus is very friendly and is a place where you can make lifelong friends. We're a very small school of about 165 students. We have about 60% of our students are boarding students, 40% are day students from our local valley. We are located in a valley here, and we have about 15% of our students coming from other countries. And each year that number might vary slightly. This past year, we had students coming from 13 different countries. And again, the countries that our students come from will vary year to year. We start our school year with an international student orientation. So we are really trying to bring international students here early so that they can orient before all the other students come to campus. It's a great time for the new international students to bond, meet each other, get to know our campus, get to know our town. We have a lot of fun orientation activities for them. We do scavenger hunts, food nights, even some hiking activities. And then we do things like some testing so we have an idea of where they are academically. Moving into the school year, we do offer special academic counseling for our international students through a special ESOL program that just depends on what your need might be. Sometimes our international students need extra English support, so we can provide that English support outside of the regular academic classes. Sometimes our international students can integrate perfectly fine with all of our academic classes, but that ESOL support is available to international students if they need that. And then following the International Orientation Week, all of our students then do come back on campus together for their own wilderness orientation backpacking trip, which is an outdoor experience for our students, again, to bond, get outside, and have an opportunity to have an outdoor experience where they're learning how to persevere and bond, and have an outdoor experience to build some skills that really help transfer throughout the experience at Colorado Rocky Mountain School. So if you can imagine yourself in a small group of maybe 7 students and several faculty leaders hiking in our local wilderness, it's a wonderful opportunity to start the school year, meeting some people, getting to be good friends with students, and then you come back and you move into your dormitory. And for some students that can't really envision what dorm life might be at Colorado Rocky Mountain School, or really at any boarding school, our residential situation here, it's really like a home away from home. We have 7 residential halls. They're all based on age and gender. So you would move into a dorm based on your grade and whether you're a boy or girl. So the 9th grade girls would be moving into their own dorm. The 9th grade boys would be moving into their own dorm. Every dorm has a living room area with couches and chairs, as well as desks and study areas. Usually there's also a kitchen area where you could even cook or bake with a refrigerator. You could store some food in there if you wanted to do that. And then there's typically 2 hallways going from that living room area with different rooms and a communal bathroom. So in other words, you would share a room on your hallway with other students in the dorm. And you would also have a roommate, so you would not be living alone. But it is a wonderful way after that orientation experience to come back, move into a dorm, meet a roommate, meet other students on your hallway, and then meet other students in the dorm itself. And the dorms are not very big. You wouldn't have more than 20 students in a dorm. Every night there is a dorm meeting. So you're gathering together, having a meeting, hearing how your day went, checking in with a faculty member, a teacher who would be leading that dorm meeting, and also having a study opportunity for 2 hours with a faculty member there who could help you if you needed any extra help with your work. And then there's lights out, and then the faculty members also wake you up in the morning, making sure that you're getting up, taking a shower, getting dressed, and heading over to our cafeteria to have something to eat. Our cafeteria, we have a kitchen staff. We have a chef who makes food from our local garden. We actually have a huge organic garden where we grow our own vegetables and herbs. We have several acres of fields where we grow our own food. And whatever we can't provide from our own gardens, we do try to get from local farmers and food producers so that we are serving really healthy food to our students. And we serve breakfast, lunch, dinner, as well as brunch and dinner on the weekends. And then just going back again to the dorm life. On the weekends, we have many activities for our boarding students on Friday nights, Saturday during the day, Saturday nights and Sundays that range anything from a pizza night, a sports event on our quad. It could be a movie night. It could be a bowling night. It could be something on campus, off campus. It could be a craft project. It could be baking in a faculty member's house. All of our faculty members do live on campus. And so you will see faculty members' homes interspersed with our dormitories. And there's always a faculty member's home who is attached to a dormitory. So our faculty members are very dedicated. They live here on campus and they get to know you in so many different ways because they may not only be your faculty dorm head who's running your faculty meetings or your dorm meetings every night and getting to know you in your dormitories, but they might also be your teacher. They might also be your academic advisor because you would be an academic advisor when you come into our program and have that advisor for all 4 years. But they also might be your coach in your active program after school. They also might lead you on an outdoor trip because we do many outdoor trips as part of our programs too. And I think it's reassuring for parents to know that there's many eyes and ears on our students. We are always making sure that we're supporting our students both academically, socially, and emotionally so that our students are doing well in our program. And having an international student coordinator also helps in that process as well throughout the school year. And in the small supportive environment that we do have, students have—
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Julie, just to let you know you've got 3 more minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I better speed talk here. In terms of being prepared for college, we do have a very academically preparatory college course program for students to prepare for school. We definitely offer courses in core areas such as science, math, history, English, the arts and languages. We have AP and honors classes offered as well as some computer science and robotics courses. We do offer a full-time college counselor here who starts working with students in the junior year, and she will counsel students through the college process and help them not only prepare for their college applications, but also their essays, any interviews, as well as standardized testing. And we are a testing center here, so if students did need to take a test, they can take the SAT or ACT here. And then I also wanted to mention the aspect of being creative and adventurous here. We have a really unique hands-on arts opportunity program here with art classes, including really unique opportunities such as glass blowing, silversmithing, making silver jewelry. We're one of the only high schools in the United States to offer a blacksmithing program, which would be creating work out of metal. We have a painting and drawing program, a photography program, as well as a really robust music program. And those are some of our unique art offerings. In fact, I brought this glass bowl to show you. This would be something that you could make in our glass blowing studio, as well as we do have a ceramic studio to make really unique pottery too. After school, we do have an active program from 3 to 5 where our students do some type of active sport or community service opportunity here on campus. We offer many competitive sport opportunities and non-competitive sports that are really conducive to our location. Some of them are more non-traditional in terms of where we're located. So we offer things like canoeing, kayaking, mountain biking, climbing. We have an incredible indoor climbing gym here. We have trail running, cross country. We do have traditional soccer teams, which in your country is football, obviously. And then in the winter, we actually shift our academic calendar and offer a ski program for students who want to ski or snowboard or cross-country ski. And we're really encouraging students to step out of their comfort zone, to try new things and learn new things. So even if you've never skied before, we will pair you with a ski instructor and you can learn how to ski while you're a student here. And I do want to move on to our COVID preparedness, because I know that's really important for parents to know. We have been able to shift really easily here because we are a very small school with a dedicated faculty. So our head of school has worked with the Colorado governor as well as local health officials, as well as our board of trustees and our faculty and staff to come up with an in-person learning program. We will be starting school on August 16th. Obviously, our goal is to present our program in a way that is healthy for students. But like the other schools, we are creating new policies, procedures, and programs that make us a healthy campus for COVID. So we are going to do health screenings similar to what the other schools announce. In fact, our screenings will be on a daily basis, and then we also will be doing COVID testing during our orientation period for students to make sure that they are not COVID positive. But if they are, we have the ability to quarantine our students here on campus. In fact, we are keeping our boarding students here on campus if they do get COVID. And if we have to shift to a hybrid or a distance learning program, we are prepared to do that with our day students learning from home. That would be our worst case scenario. We're hiring additional cleaning staff. We have many new cleaning protocols between classes, between lunch periods. We are limiting access to dorms for only dorm residents to keep dormitories a safe haven for the dorm residents themselves. We're limiting class sizes to only 10 students. We're being way more flexible with our classroom spaces so that we can have smaller classes spread throughout the campus. We're using our outdoor spaces as much as we can. Those are some of the changes we've made, as well as also changing our academic calendar. We're limiting breaks to keep students here on campus as much as possible and creating a longer break between November and January, as one of the other schools mentioned as well. We also have 2 local hospitals that would be here in case somebody did get very sick, but we do have the opportunity to quarantine on campus if we do need to do that. And I know I may have like another minute just to throw in. We do have some really interesting signature programs here, including fall and spring outdoor trips. We do offer trips in Colorado and Utah that are similar to the active programs that I mentioned after school. We offer a February interim trip, which is an experiential study opportunity on one subject that are also on and off campus. And then we offer a senior project for our seniors to do an off-campus opportunity in one particular area to prepare them before their college experience. It could be an internship opportunity, it could be working with a nonprofit, but something that allows them some independence to not live in their dorm and not live at home, but really study some area that may be of interest before they go off to college and become even more independent as they live on their own. So I know that's a lot of information for everyone to take in. But again, I really want to emphasize our beautiful, wonderful outdoor campus in the mountains here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. The fact that we are extremely friendly, diverse, inclusive. You can make friends here that become your friends for life, that we really do prepare you for the college experience, and that we are a place where you can be very creative through our arts programs and very adventurous through our outdoor programs that really balance the academic programs that we offer here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Julie, for your enlightening and interesting presentation. Again, I was making notes while you were speaking. You know, we've established that Colorado Rocky Mountain School is a small school, you know, where each student receives full attention and their unique strengths and abilities are celebrated. Yes. And you cater to students in grades 9 to 12, and you also weave academics, outdoor adventure, service, you know, to the community and the arts into your curriculum. And of course, you have a strong academic program, you know, that prepares students for the college experience, and you offer courses in core areas such as science, maths, English, the arts, etc. You know, there was one thing you mentioned that really jumped at me. You provide academic counseling for your international students. So a concern of parents about, you know, sending their children abroad is, you know, how will their child, you know, adapt, you know, to this new and foreign environment? How will the child, you know, what would the transition, will it be a difficult transition process for the child, you know, because they're used to a certain way of learning in Nigeria. And, you know, so some parents are worried that their child might not be able to, you know, integrate to this new system of learning in the US. So it's wonderful to know that, you know, you cater to those group of international students who might find difficulty with integrating. And, you know, aside from academic support, there's that social and emotional support for students to enable them have, you know, that worthwhile experience. Thank you. So I would, once again, I would like to say a very big thank you to all of our delegates, Caroline and the two Julies. You know, we've learned that your schools are planning to reopen in September. We've learned that, you know, you're all focused to providing students with quality education, and, you know, you have fantastic co-curricular activities and outdoor recreational opportunities for students in order for them to have, you know, a fantastic experience at your schools. So we're now going to move on to the Q&A session. I have been receiving questions privately, you know, so I'll just start with the questions that I've been receiving. So the first question, and I believe Julie Wiley of Colorado Rocky Mountain School touched on this. This parent wants to know, you know, what will happen if her child, you know, falls ill with COVID-19 symptoms on campus, you know, and Julie, I believe you made mention that you will provide, you know, a quarantine facility or an area for the child to self-isolate. And, you know, and if the child falls, you know, even more ill, you have 2 nearby hospitals where, you know, the child would be admitted to. Okay, so a second question is, in view of, sorry,
I just
Julie?
want to add too, I think, you know, our school, and I'm sure the other schools would agree with me too, that having nurses on staff and medical personnel, we're really able to care for students and, you know, bring them meals, check in on them. We're not going to just isolate them. You know, we're small caring schools that are really going to check in with students and make sure that they're okay. And I think parents can feel that they can trust our students at our small schools where we're really catering toward the support of our international students.
Thank you so much, Julie. I would also like to give Julie Middleton and Caroline Whitbeck, the opportunity to touch on this as well.
Yes, as mentioned, we do have a dorm that has been determined to be put offline to be that quarantining space should a student be resolved with a positive test result, asymptomatic or symptomatic. We do have a space where they can be, where we will have a member of our health team living in that dorm with them. And similar to Julie, we do have mental health and wellness staff who will be checking in regularly with all of our students, especially during the first 2 weeks of arrival, where students will have to be quarantined on campus. That's going to be a little different. We're used to being together and outdoors and bonding, and at least for our first 3 days, we're planning on having students test before they get here, test upon arrival, and for 3 days, they really do have to be in a stricter quarantine situation. So we're being very thorough about how we approach this, understanding that the safety and health really needs to inform everything that we do this year. So, thank you for allowing us all to speak to this.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much, Julie. Please
I
go
did
ahead,
mention
Caroline.
our quarantine dorm as well. We have, I didn't mention this previously, we do have a physician who is on campus every day. And on a typical year when there isn't COVID, he would be in the dining hall at breakfast giving meds to students who take medications on a daily basis. Obviously, with a quarantine dorm, should a student test positive, again, symptomatic or asymptomatic, they would be moved into that quarantine dorm. But just as any kid on sickbed, in a normal school year, someone wakes up with food poisoning or just doesn't feel so good, they're going to have, they're going to be able to get bed rest, whether it's for a few hours or for the day, and people will bring them meals and check in on them, and the physician will determine if they need additional care. We are going to be doing, as I said, wellness and temperature checks, and for us it's going to be, because we do have a day student population as well, before you get to your meal, you're going to be having temperature and wellness checks several times a day, so that anytime you're going to be sitting down to eat, you're going to make sure you don't have a temperature, or all those good things. It seems like we have a lot of similar protocols in common, so I won't belabor this, but just to reiterate, should a student test positive, they're not going to be abandoned by the community. We have places for them, and they will be well looked after. I don't know the exact distances of our hospitals, but I know we have several, Bryn Mawr, and we're outside of major metropolitan area if need be for more intensive care or specialty care of that sort.
Thank you very much for your responses, ladies. The second question I received was, if a student experiences visa delays and is unable to resume school on time, what will happen? Do you have deferral policies in place, for the student to, defer entry to the next academic year, or, will online provision be made available for those students who are unable to make it in time to the US due to visa delays and also travel restrictions?
Absolutely, absolutely. We will offer the option if a student has a visa issue or if there is a border issue of some sort, they can defer, and they could defer to a later point in the year. And of course, tuition would be prorated, or they could go on to the distance learning option and opt into that. We do plan on recording and having all of our classes be live this year. So just to address that situation, Anne-Marie, if there's a student who is unable to attend and wants to be a part of the distance learning program, that is absolutely possible. And again, that would be at a prorated cost as well.
Thank you very much, Julie. So back on the topic of virtual learning, some of our families, have this view that, learning online is not the same as, being on campus and learning on a face-to-face curriculum. So some of them fear that, there's a gap in terms of, quality of education, and, it won't be the extensive course content that will be delivered, or, students won't receive, the full academic expertise online. So we just, wanted you all to sort of just give us your responses to this.
Sure, I can speak first to that. I think, our school being smaller, and we do have an IT team here who did help us shift to our online learning platform in March, and did an amazing job through our dedicated teachers. We used our Canvas platform and did teach our online learning through Zoom meetings. We did use synchronous learning, which means that when we were doing our classes, everybody was together in the format where you see our screens right now. Everybody was together at the very same time, being able to speak and interact with one another. It did allow for classroom discussion and the ability to really interact and teach. But in order to have that quality support and maybe teaching that the parents are concerned about, our school has something called student meeting blocks, where we, in addition to just the classroom experience time, we offer additional periods where students can approach teachers and ask questions outside of the classroom time itself. Through Zoom meeting, there's also student breakout sessions where you can break out with the teacher and ask questions. There were also some teachers that used a little bit of asynchronous time. So in other words, during that classroom experience, maybe you were doing something, doing some reading or watching something, and then everyone comes together. I think for this academic year, what would be important for parents to know is that even if our school had to shift to some form of distance learning, even if it's maybe partially or in the worst case scenario, fully, if we had some terrible COVID outbreak that forced distance learning on our campus, we would keep all of our boarding students here on campus in the dorms, so they would still be able to interact with other students and our faculty on campus. It would be our day students that would learn from home. The international students would still have the opportunity to have faculty access to ask questions. And we also did build in the other facets of our program into our distance learning program, including our all-school meetings, our advisory groups, our active programs where we had students come up with fitness curriculums, as well as arts programs too. And so I think, students and faculty would agree that certainly it's not ideal that we can't come together and learn in the classroom, but the students and faculty still benefited from the fact that we could teach in a synchronous learning atmosphere through distance learning.
I would add just similarly that we were able to pivot really quickly to offer a very extensive synchronous and asynchronous program. And it's not, this past spring, it's not what boarding schools signed up for initially. So it was a great learning curve. And I think moving into this year, we all have learned what worked really well and how to expand upon that. So for example, at Hebron, we had twice weekly live advisory periods. And just to have that moment for students to come together and be able to share in a safe place anything that was on their mind with this experience, that was really valuable. We also added a couple of weeks into the spring a Thursday parent session with our Director of Mental Health and Wellness and our Director of Student Success. So parents could hear tips for supporting their students during this time, and also have a place to ask questions about about the situation, how the school was handling it, and anything really that was on their minds. So we are expecting to do everything synchronously this year. We are adjusting our schedules slightly so that students who are in different time zones can manage that to the best of their ability. However, we will be recording all classes, so if it's not possible, they can tune in later in their day to participate in the class.
Much as
Thank you very much. Please go on, Caroline.
Julie's have said, yes, we had very similar experiences, no one's first choice. But we heard very, very good things from our parents about the structure we were able to provide and keeping the continuity. Again, because our class size is around 6 or 7, and in some cases with academic support 4, they would have a good mix of synchronous and asynchronous time with every class every day. So they could, start a project, have a discussion, go off and do it. And the kid that needed to sit there with the teacher and get a little more step by step could even have one-on-one time. We also built in, as I think some of you guys have mentioned, concern for guys in different time zones, particularly when we've got our students in China or Vietnam. I know they're teenage boys, so they kind of like being up at 2 in the morning, but we know that's not always an ideal learning situation. We had one calling in from a sheet fort under his bed in quarantine going, "I'm in a barrack with 8 other guys," and we're going inside boys. Inside. But also, having extra office hours at the start and end of day, so you could make sure if they were watching a recorded lecture like they would. We are talking to some kids in China right now who aren't going to be able to join us because the visa offices haven't opened. And I've been hearing that Nigerian airspace isn't quite open yet. From what I've heard, I have a family from Houston, and dad is working as an engineer in Nigeria. So for them, it's going to be about, like what Julie said, about recording the in-person sessions, but then building in time where they can have advisory sessions or one-on-one video calls at the start and end of day to match some of those. Also, we had 3 times a day, we had synchronous fitness. So if you wanted to log on and do meditation in the afternoon or do a morning workout using some soup cans or what you had in the house, we would try to make it happen. Because with guys, I know they have
Hello, I'm so sorry. I got logged out for a few seconds. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your responses. I mean, yes, it's evident that you're committed to providing top quality education, whether that's in person, instruction, or online delivery for students who are unable to make it in time to the US for fall 2020. It's also wonderful to learn that when the schools were forced to close earlier on in the year, you were able to transition seamlessly to online delivery, and your current student cohorts, and their parents, they reacted well, to this new normal and, this new way of learning. It's wonderful that your pupils were motivated to join their classes. You provided opportunities for them to, have one-on-one teacher interaction, online. So it's wonderful to know that education continued. And, in spite of the global crises and its challenges, learning was not disrupted. It was just delivered in a new way, a different way. Okay, and the final question I received was with regards to financial aid. So we're all aware that the pandemic has caused, significant financial impact, on families and across the global economy. And, some parents, are hesitant, to send their children abroad because they just feel they might not be able to afford the full cost of education. So we've been receiving inquiries about if, US boarding schools that we work with, will provide some form of financial support to families in the form of, scholarships or bursaries. So I know one of you mentioned that, of course, for any students who may have to start their program online, the tuition fee will be, discounted. So yes, that's great to know that they won't be paying the full cost. But are you providing any other form of financial aid to your families?
Always, I would say. About 40% of our student body does receive some form of financial aid, small or large. It is typically on the basis of need. So there will be for international students, we do have a international student financial aid form. It comes from the same organization we work with for our domestic students, SSS. School and Student Services, a very sibilant organization with a long financial aid form, but basically the parents get to fill in, profile, debts, expenses, income, and they're always able to present an offer to pay, so that we're able to understand, and meet the family wherever possible. We are a very small school. We're definitely the smallest of the three. So that is the most frustrating part of this job, is understanding that until I find that bag of money, we may not be able to meet every family's need, but we do try our best. We have some families here on some very big offers, and we do everything we can to try to help out. We have some students I know that didn't end up going home because of COVID, and we ended up having them stay with families in the nearby area just to spare the expense of the extra flights. Right now, we're feeling very lucky that they didn't leave the country, because now they're here, so you don't have to worry about flights and things like that.
Yes, similarly, Hebron Academy does offer an international financial aid program. And like Phelps, we work with SSS and the parents' financial statement to garner the information about ability, about need. And we also have scholarships available. So I'm happy to talk with families about their budget, and would really, obviously, ideally, be not only a good academic, environmental, cultural fit, but a financial aid fit as well.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Please go on, Julie. Yes.
Yeah, I would just agree with Julie and Caroline. We also offer financial aid to 40% of our families, and also to international students. We don't offer a scholarship program, so we're not offering merit fellowships or scholarships, but we do provide financial aid to families in need and follow that very same processes with the application. And we definitely take a personalized approach. So we encourage families to send a letter or an email to our director of enrollment and explain any special circumstances that you want us to consider in making that decision. We also have scholarship opportunities for some of the additional trips and programs that we offer for families who are on financial aid. We don't cover things like airfare, so we would expect families to provide transportation for students. But for international students on breaks, we are able to work with local day student families to host so that students don't have to travel back and forth on some of those longer breaks. And we just do try to take a more personalized approach here with working with the international families.
Thank you very much. Yes, on the topic of breaks, we did have one parent who asked, whether your schools are open, for Thanksgiving weekend or, the longer breaks. Sometimes you have families that don't have any friends or relatives, in the US, so they worry about where their children will be able to spend those long weekends or breaks. Obviously, it's too expensive for them to come back to Nigeria. So as you mentioned, Julie, it's wonderful to know that you do have arrangements in place with local families, who would definitely be happy to, accommodate international students during such instances. In the chat box, we received a question from a parent who asked if my child has US citizens. Okay, so do your schools offer separate fees for local students and international students? Okay.
Partly.
Sure. I was just going to say our fees are the same, but we have an additional fee for international students for the international orientation program. And if they opt to, or if they need the ESOL, additional learning assistance, then we do have additional fees for that.
So when I said partly, it's something similar. If our students need EAL program, language, our young men from China, that's a lot of what they need. There is an international student processing fee that helps us pay to get, for the school fees to get the visas and the things that we do on our end. If a student was a US citizen, they wouldn't be, because we wouldn't need to be paying SEVP. The question I would have would be whether or not they would need the international student health insurance. That would be an additional fee if they needed that because of where the family was oriented, or if they had another way of getting health insurance. Otherwise, the tuition is the same. But yeah, if they needed additional course programming, like an English language program, would be a separate fee.
We do have different fees for our boarding, our day, and our international. The international fee has a small increment that does cover the international student director, the international student programming, the ESOL program. So again, probably not any student from Nigeria, but students are not charged any separate rate for taking an English as a second language course at Hebron. And again, like Caroline mentioned, a US citizen that is living abroad would be eligible for the domestic boarding rate.
Thank you so much, ladies, for providing clarification on that. Another parent has asked for more light to be shed on financial aid. I mean, my understanding of financial aid is, yes, you provide a reduced tuition fee or boarding fee to families, who require that deduction. And does the process entail them providing, financial statements or evidence that demonstrates that, yes, they're not able to afford the full cost of attendance costs, and, therefore, they need that financial support? Or if any of you could please provide more insight into that.
I can start. We usually do want to see, I know a part of getting, making sure you're going to get your I-20 would be, proof of financial support. So we would want to, in the cases of very high financial support, typically we would generate a statement that would show, they've paid the very minimal fee or maybe a deposit, and that would be sufficient to show that they didn't maybe owe anything else after that. Otherwise, if there are, income tax type statements, which is analogous to what we typically ask from our domestic families.
Thank you very much. So we've now come to the end of our virtual information session and question and answer session. I would like to say a very big thank you to Caroline Whitbeck of the Phelps School, Julie Middleton of Hebron Academy, and Julie Wiley of Colorado Rocky Mountain School. It's been so wonderful listening, to your presentations on your schools, and also learning about the rigorous protocols you have in place to protect your students and academic faculty. We've all learned that each one of your schools offer an extensive academic program. You also make broad extracurricular opportunities available to your students. You make sure that each one of your students is happy and settled, and they fit into the community and form lifelong partnerships. You also provide strong college advisory services, and your students go on to study at top universities around the world. And it's also wonderful to know that you provide, financial aid, and some of you do have scholarship opportunities available, and we will definitely, without hesitation, continue to advertise your individual schools to our parents. I'm now going to pass on to the Newbie Education Executive Director, Mrs. Rose Omonobi. I'm sorry, Ma, it seems that you need to unmute yourself. We're not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ma, we can.
Wow, I've learned so much today about US boarding schools, more than I ever knew. Thank you so much for those wonderful presentations and taking time out to come and share with our families your invaluable resources, and to reassure them that despite all odds, despite pandemic, US is still a safe study destination. So that is what we have gathered this afternoon, and I'm very happy to hear that. And I also say thank you to our parents who are taking time out to join us. I am I don't take this for granted, because we would have been doing something else, but this is very important to you. You keyed into the information session. And I believe that you find the information you receive during this session most helpful in making your informed decisions about your ward's study plans. I thank the Newbie staff and Marie and the team working tirelessly to put this event to this success level. So I say thank you. We are very interested in helping our students achieve their careers and goals and aspirations. And one of the ways we do this is to partner with some local banks. We are partnered with 2 leading banks to assist those families that have very good income stream and who have good jobs, but they can't put the money up front. They can't pay the money up front. So the banks will pay the schools up front, and the parents will be paying back as they are away comfortable in the US. So this is what we have done for our parents. And just to let you know that this meeting is recorded, and then we're going to send it to those who are present here today, those that registered but couldn't make it, and to school counselors. We had a school career counselor here for one of our foremost schools in Nigeria. I don't know if she's still here, Miss Teru. So we will send it to our local schools as well, so they can send to their parents. And it's also in YouTube. So for the ones that we have been doing since June, they are all in YouTube. So this is not just for today. And if a parent wants a visual meeting with our partners, please know that we are able to arrange that, because sometimes I know it is better to have one-on-one discussions. So it helps a lot. We'll help to arrange any visual meeting that you desire. So I say a big thank you once more. I am happy. I totally enjoyed myself. It's such an informative session. So I hope wearing mask in the US will not be. Oh, you have yours. Oh, okay, that's good.
Over there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye, Julie. Bye, the two Julies. Bye, Caroline. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Keep safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.